Welcome to another episode of Erik Wait Whiskey Studies, and in this video, going to do a review of the Scarabus Islay Single Malt Scotch Whisky. So I was down in Austin, Texas, going through the level 2 of the whiskey sommelier class at the Wizard Academy, and one of my fellow students, we also went through the level 1 together, so we're going through the level 2 together, Richard Amaro. Hey Richard. He also is the bar manager there at the Crowded Barrel. Gave me a sample of the Scarabus, so I didn't get a full bottle, but he gave me enough to I can sample this whiskey. I tasted it while we were there, and I got to take it home, so I thought, what the heck, I'm going to do a review of this, because a lot of people have been asking me about what I think about the Scarabus. Richard, thank you very much. So this, he gave this to me because he knew I was doing a series on independent Islay whiskeys. And I gotta say, if I had time, I wish I had stopped in at Total Wine & More, or perhaps I can find one around here, because this is an absolutely fantastic whiskey and an absolutely fantastic bargain. But before I tell you about the nose and the palate on this, let me tell you a little bit about the whiskey. Scarabus is a single malt from an undisclosed Islay distillery released by Hunter Lang. It was first launched for the Fish Ale Festival of the Island in 2019. It's available from Total Wine & More and Drizzly. It's bottled at 42% alcohol by volume and sells for about $35. So the first thing I gotta say is the whiskey is fairly light, so I'm gonna say there is no added coloring. So one of my main goals in doing this series on independent Islay whiskeys is, one, there's those whiskeys you see on the shelf that, you know, people might be sort of questioning about. They wish they knew more about it so they can make it a wise choice as to whether or not those independent bottles are worth buying. But second, some of them are lower priced than the distillery releases, and again, you got to kind of wonder, okay, is that just a bad cask? You know, is the reason why they're able to source that bottle, which they don't tell you what distillery it's from, is it any good? I gotta say, this one is really nice. And the fact that it's a single malt and not a blend, so in other words, they didn't get to this profile by, you know, mixing and matching casks to try to get to it. This is a, you know, from a single distillery, tells you, wow, whoever let this go to an independent bottler, maybe this is one they should have kept on their profile, because this is an absolutely fantastic whiskey, and only 35 bucks. I'm gonna tell you straight up, this is a whiskey you could probably easily sell 55 to 60 bucks. So the peat and the smoke is there, but it's sort of moderate. It's not smacking upside the face, but it's also not hiding either. It's there. Someone who's new to peat, they would think this was a heavily, intensely peated whiskey, but it's not. For the, I would say, the typical peat drinker, they're going to say this is sort of moderate in the intensity of smoke. Fruit pulls through it, a little bit of pear, a little bit of apple, perhaps a little bit of stone fruit. There's a little bit of nuttiness even on the nose. The peat and the smoke character is, I would say, it's a little bit more, say, like a barbecue. It doesn't have any ashiness. So it seems a little youthful on the nose. If I were to guess, probably 8 to 10 years. But it doesn't have the saccharine, powdered sugar character. It doesn't have those green notes of a real young whiskey. And it's got a real nice nuttiness, and even just a hint, a waft of chocolate on the nose as well. On the palate, wow, it starts off sweet and fruity up front. It then develops into a chocolate character, I would say like a milk chocolate with a little bit of nuttiness. The fruit is maintained. There's a little bit of a character of, say, like a slightly burnt marshmallow character there. The fruit and the chocolate are really surrounded by the peat and the smoke. I don't know how they do this with whiskeys, but you can have some whiskeys that have a ton of peat and smoke, and you have to sort of fight through to get the any fruit character to sort of push through that. Lafroigs are often like that. And then sometimes you can have a whiskey in which, you know, the fruit and the chocolate and the nuttiness and then the other character there is sort of right down the center of the palate and makes its presence known. and then the peat and the smoke is sort of framing out on the outer edges and then sort of follows up on the back end, and that's the way this one comes across. So it gives it a really nice balance. There's no competition here between the smoke and the peat and the fruit character. Another thing I like about this is it does start off sweet and goes slightly savory on the back end, and with those really nice chocolate notes there as well. So it's almost a slight meatiness on the back end, and then there's a buttload of salt on the finish with a lot of smoke and peat. But there's a sweetness there as well. So the smoke and the peat isn't ashy. It's sort of a nice, sweet, smoky, salty chocolate character. So I really like the development of this. I like the complexity of it. The fact there is something different up front. It has some changes in the middle and changes into the finish. That's one of the key things that I look for in a whiskey, so it's not the same thing all the way through. I like the fact that it's got sweetness and a little bit of dryness and maybe a little bit of savory character on the back end. I like that it finishes with that saltiness and nuttiness. I like the way the peat and the smoke frame the fruit character. So basically, on all those descriptors, I'm talking about the structure of the whiskey. So there's the aromas and the flavors, and then there's the structure of it. It has a nice silky mouthfeel without feeling really thin. I really don't like it when a whiskey comes across as if you're just drinking water, and it's been brought down just too far. So it's got a real nice balance there as well. At 35 bucks, this is an absolutely steal. What I'm gonna give it in terms of score, I'm gonna go a solid 89 points. 89 points. If it had more flavors, more depth, more aromas, a little bit more oomph, it could get a little more kapow in terms of particularly in the fruit character. It could take it over at 90 points. But at 35 bucks, I don't know, honestly, of a better priced peated Islay malt than this one. I used to say that about the Ardbeg 10, but I gotta say, for the price, we're looking now at $20 cheaper than one of my favorite whiskeys, the Ardbeg 10-year-old. This is absolutely spectacular. Now, do I like this as much as the Ardbeg 10-year-old? No, I'm not gonna go there. But still, for 35 bucks, this is an absolute steal. If you can find this one, I highly recommend it. All right, if you like watching my videos, but you've not yet subscribed, and ask you to subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I go live. And if you are one of my patrons, I want to thank you very much for supporting this church. Yeah, I'm gonna turn this into a religion now. Supporting this church. Praise the Lord, send me your money. Sorry. For supporting this channel. And Richard Romero, thank you very much, brother, for letting me have this bottle. And I'm going to leave this clip in there, even though I'm kind of losing it. All right, until next time, cheers. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and check out these other whiskey videos.